The plan with Quartz all along was to create a news organization, a sister to The Atlantic, which is excellent journalism, and really made the digital turn really smartly, that was global, that was focused on business, that was journalistic, and it was digitally native. So we focused on mobile and tablet as we built Quartz, and we tried to minimize the friction for the sharing on social media of our content. So we're about 20 months in, and at this stage we're averaging close to 5 million readers a month. About 40-something% of our readers are outside of the US, and it's a really strong international business readership that we're getting on a daily basis. Some signature things for us are our use of charts. So our posts are very visual, and we have reporters all over the place. Our founding editorial team speaks 19 different languages, has reported from 115 different countries. We have 4 full-time people in Asia, 3 full-time people in Europe, and a bunch of people in the US, and are going at the international business news market, and it seems to be resonating with readers around the world. What you find is that when you are a digitally native publication, that's actually differentiating from the big established business news outlets. And what this means, one example of this is that when we're doing posts, we actually embed charts. Our charts within the text, within the flow of an article. We write articles that are short, and we write articles that are long. We try and stay away from the 800-word standard format that is, you find is less relevant for readers online. They read things that are short and focused and creative, or longer and more ambitious, where there's a payoff for the reader in terms of narrative, reporting, analysis. That sort of thing. So there are lots of little things that go into it. We've hired smart reporters. We write on the news, but try to provide context. We write things that are short, we write things that are long, and we've made charts. We've provided charting tools to all of our all of our journalists, and they're using them regularly. So the sum of all these things, combined with an experience that works really well on mobile and tablet, and where we've minimized the friction for sharing on social networks, including Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter, and the sum of that is pretty differentiated, it turns out. We've gone 100% advertising. We don't have any paywall at this stage, and we're using 2 types of advertisements. One is display advertisements, and one is native advertising. The display ads are non-standard ads, and that's because they're in the flow of the content. So news sites traditionally have a right rail, which is the right column of the page, which is this kind of unloved zone where the headlines, and there's sort of random headlines and standard ad units. Readers have basically been trained over the years to ignore this 35% of the right side of the page, and so that didn't seem like a good experience. So we got rid of that and actually have ads that run in the flow of the content that are clearly identified as ads. The opportunity is that advertisers are responding really strongly to this. We've had roughly 60 different advertisers. We have over an 80% renewal rate. Blue chip companies are advertising with us. And they want to reach the demographic of our readership, which is this post-national global business readership, and there's strong demand. So we're actually pretty confident we have a good business based on this. We're also doing a number of events, which is another revenue stream. We're adding reporters in different areas where it seems like there's opportunity to improve our coverage or to do things that readers are looking for. The areas that we're expanding in are mainly not new to us. So we've added a tech reporter, we're going to add a reporter in Asia, we're adding a business and finance reporter, we're adding a few general assignment reporters, and we're bolstering our editing staff to work with the reporters through all of this. So we're really happy with the mix of content that we're doing, and we just don't have enough hands to actually do as much as we want and cover all the things we want to cover on a given day. The other thing with Quartz is that we have, instead of strict beats, we have what are called obsessions. We call them obsessions, and the idea is that they're the phenomena that are most important for global business people to know about. Things like energy shocks, China's transition, the mobile web, and we have reporters covering those. And one of the ways that obsessions emerge is organically out of the obsessions and the interests of the reporters. And so we'll bring in a number of new reporters on a general assignment basis, and then coach them and work with them to develop obsessions over time, which is something we've done with our existing reporters, many of them. I'm really optimistic about the future of journalism, and there are a few dynamics at play that actually reinforce and push you towards doing quality content. 10 years ago we were writing for robots. We were writing headlines for Google's search index robots, and the classic example is the "What time is the Super Bowl" post by the Huffington Post that got several million readers. This was written for a robot. The headline was "What time is the Super Bowl?" because people were searching for that. The first line of the post was something like "What time is the Super Bowl?" And so forth. What you find today is that your success in growing your readership is if you create content that people not only click on and go into, but actually find it compelling content, and then they share it on. And so success is not actually just tricking someone into clicking a headline and reading your post. Success is when that person actually thinks that it's a good post, a good piece of content, and then shares it themselves. The result is that journalists and media organizations are rewarded for doing content, producing content that's unique, that's satisfying, that's ambitious, and so overall, what you find is that people actually read content that's sort of creative and makes people think, or is really ambitious and actually moves the ball forward on an issue of some import in terms of analysis or reporting. Overall, this is really excellent. What we see is that all of the growth in news readership is taking place via social networks and on mobile devices effectively. And these trends generally are challenging for news organizations to adapt to, but overall are actually very good for the future of journalism and create opportunities for organizations like Quartz.